Hey everybody, welcome to Panel Surfing. I'm Steve Sanu, and I'm sitting here with none other than Mike Mignola, creator of Hellboy and any number of other iconic characters. Thanks so much for being here, Mike.
My pleasure.
So, as Frankenstein Underground approaches, I was hoping you might be willing to look at the classic Frankenstein story, and let us know what is it about it that's always stuck with you.
When it comes to Frankenstein, what's always stuck with me is the Boris Karloff Frankenstein. I've read the Mary Shelley novel, which I love and I appreciate, but Bride of Frankenstein is my favorite monster movie. So, I mean, the trick with the Frankenstein Underground was knowing it is the Mary Shelley Frankenstein, but I at least started writing it as the more or less Karloff monster. So how do you do a character that somehow meets those two things somewhere in the middle? And for me to write that kind of character, I need to make it my character. Even though it's Mary Shelley's character, I had to make it my character, so I had to blend those things together in my head and come up with my own, voice. But it's probably closer. There's just a gut level response to the Karloff, especially Bride of Frankenstein, because it's just so weird.
Tell us a little bit about what you're thinking is coming up for Hellboy in the upcoming issues. Does writing this earlier version of Hellboy feel a bit like you're writing a completely different character sometimes?
Yeah, well, a little bit. I mean, I did have to remind myself that there were certain things he couldn't do or wouldn't do, and in fact, I had to build in certain scenes to remind the reader, Hellboy's not in charge. I don't think that is going to last long. I think once he gets up and running, he will be closer to the recognizable Hellboy. I didn't want to do a really slow evolution of him into the character everybody knows, because the whole point of the Hellboy B.P.R.D. series is to make the familiar Hellboy. So what we're finding with this book, there's so many places that we've never gone, so many relationships we've never seen developed. So it's exciting. And it's exciting that after 20 some odd years, there's still all this kind of uncharted territory to do with the character.
Well, before we finish up here, we did ask the fans for some questions for you. We selected one of them.
Yay.
And this fan asked, is it strange going back and reading your old work?
Is it supposed to be strange? Because I actually do find myself reading my old stuff. I mean, a lot of stuff I'm looking, as I get further along in this series, I want to make sure I'm answering questions I've left hanging, or these vague prophecies. I want to read them and see if they jive with the things I'm planning to do. But very often I get caught reading my own stuff, and I've never considered myself a writer. I still don't really consider myself a writer, but reading this stuff, kind of going, considering I'm not a writer, this is not bad.
Well, I mean, you're not the only one that's happy with what you've managed to do. I know that everybody at Dark Horse is a big fan of your work, and you've got a lot of fans out there too. So thank you so much for stopping by, Mike. No. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Mike Mignola, I'm Steve Sanu, and this is Panel Surfing.